So the FBI is investigating a new type of crime, a relatively new type of crime. We know that this has been happening for quite a while, but they've dubbed it sextortion. Basically, it's extortion that includes sexting and online nude images. Now, the case that they are specifically investigating right now involves a Glendale, California man by the name of Karan Kazarian, and he allegedly broke into the email accounts, the Skype accounts, and Facebook accounts of up to 100 women, and then he posed as those women. And then he went on to communicate with up to 350 other women and convince them to send him nude pictures of themselves. So what would happen is, you know, he would have like an intimate discussion with them about something, he would get very close with them, and then he would say, oh, let me see you without your shirt. And then they would do that. And then he would say, look, I have this shirtless picture, now you have to send me more. If you don't send me more, I'm gonna send this to your family members, to your coworkers. And so, you know, it became a vicious cycle, and up to 350 women were pressured into sending him nude images of themselves. Now, this is something that's causing a lot of problems on the World Wide Web, okay? Lots of people are falling for it, which makes me so sad. Usually it's young people, right, teenagers. And there was another case of a man in Alabama who was sentenced to 35 years in prison because he did something very similar. Christopher Patrick Gunn is his name. And the earlier gentleman from Glendale faces 105 years in prison because of what he has done. What can we do about this, Samantha? Because this story, it's a reoccurring story. We talk about it on the show on a regular basis. And I feel like it makes a lot of sense to not only have comprehensive sex ed in schools, but to also talk about online security.
Absolutely. I think parents need to really sit down and talk with their kids, really have an active role, because with the guy in Alabama, he was going after 13-year-olds, 14-year-olds, and he was posing as a new kid on the block. And he was getting intimate details from the kids, and then once he got those intimate details as a friend, he went ahead and said, listen, I'm gonna forward this conversation to your parents, to your principal, unless you show me a picture of you in a bra. And then after he got that bra photo, he'd say, now you have to take off the bra, or else I'm gonna show that picture. So, I mean, these poor girls, because, you know, one girl actually said to him, you know, this will ruin my life, you can't do this to me, I'll kill myself. And he was completely unmoved. And, you know, these girls after the fact as victims, you know, it hurts their trust in people, in men, in adults, and it, you know, it completely crushes their self-esteem. You know, I can't imagine, you know, what they're going through after knowing that had happened, after knowing that they had to take those pictures. Who knows how their peers are reacting to it. Of
course, you know, they could become victims of bullies just because of the fact that they have these nude photos of themselves on the internet. And oftentimes it could follow them for the rest of their lives. It's unfortunate that we live in this puritanical society where if you have nude pictures of yourself online, that could mean losing a job. It could mean not getting hired at a job. So yeah, it definitely has some serious consequences. And it's, of course, a child pornography issue as well when they're underage. So it seems like the FBI is really cracking down hard on these guys, and the charges are significant. The time that they're getting sentenced to prison is significant. 35 years is no joke. You know, Kazarian faces 105 years in prison.
I think that's great.
Really?
I do. I say make an example out of them, because this is ruining kids' lives. It is.
It is, but at the same time, I kind of have a problem with that because we have rapists in the country that don't serve that much time in prison.
I agree with that
So
too.
what he did was wrong, and I definitely think you should make an example out of him. I don't know, and I'm not an expert at prison sentences, so I always get sucked into these conversations.
And the rehabilitation system isn't that great either. So I do see where you're coming from. I do think that it's good that they make an example out of him, though. I hope it does scare other people from doing this, because it is costing these young girls' lives in some sense of the word. And, you know, but you're right, they need to, you know, up the ante with rapists too, and, you know, and other people that are committing, you know, horrible crimes.